ربي لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وخليله بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الله به الغمة وجاهد في سبيل ربه حتى أتاه اليقين. اللهم اجزه عنا وعن والدينا وعن الإسلام والمسلمين خير ما جازيت به نبيا عن قومه ورسولا عن أمته. اللهم أحينا على سنته وتوفنا على ملته وأوردنا حوضه واسقنا من يده الشريفة شربة هنيئة لا نظمأ بعدها أبدا. اللهم اجمع بيننا وبينه كما آمنا به ولم نره ولا تفرق بيننا وبينه حتى تدخلنا مدخله. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. ثم أما بعد. My dear respected brothers and sisters, in this very critical and consequential election season, we need to be reminded of the importance of participating in the political activities that's going on around us. It is really important to remember that voting, using our constitutional right, is much more than a political action. It's also an ethical action. It is an act that we can call it a religious duty, in a way that we participate in enjoining good and forbidding evil, and also when we interact with others, our neighbors, and also when we contribute to this country by voicing our opinion and showing the world where do we stand. People always ask, where are Muslims? What do they believe in? What they're asking for? Like all other Americans, we have our own concerns, hopes, ambition. We want to have better security in our cities. We need to have better educational system. And we also need to see justice served here at home and abroad. For all these reasons, I strongly believe that we must participate. And participating, by participation, I mean not only just casting your vote. That's one small part of participation, or political participation. I understand that many people don't like to get involved in politics. Many people don't like very qualified, ethical people that don't want to run for office or ask for people's vote. But as Plato said in his Republic, that the penalty of those who don't participate in politics is that they will be ruled by people who are inferior to them, or other translations says more evil. And if you think that when we don't vote and when we don't participate, we are not losing anything, please think again. We pay heavy price when you don't participate. Laziness is not Islamic, of course, and it's not rewarding. Not participating means that submitting to the status quo and not taking a stand and not enjoining good and forbidding evil. Our democratic system is not perfect. We all know that. But yet, it is the best that humanity have produced so far. It just needs some more ethics. Democracy, as we mentioned before, is not perfect. Our democracy is not perfect. But the alternative was historically fighting for power. People literally fight, armies. People are forced to join armies and fight for causes that they don't even know or they don't believe in. This was the only way to come to power. Now, humanity developed new systems to guarantee or protect the peaceful transition of power. And this system, as I said, is not perfect yet. We know that. We know about that it's not perfect because it concentrates wealth and power in the hands of few. Theoretically speaking, this is not supposed to be the case, but practically, if you don't have money, if you don't have lobbies, if you don't have special interests, then it's very difficult to compete. This is what it is. This is not the ideal, but this is the absolute reality. The Supreme Court decision that allows funds to come even from overseas, corporations and even governments, That's okay. So every election season, we see more or increase in the fund that comes to support one campaign or the other. Perhaps we're the only country in the world that spent hundreds of millions of dollars, and the election season stays for 2 years, very boring, very consuming, and very depressing. It is not perfect because of that. Because of the lies part of the process. You cannot be a politician and say the truth. Very difficult, very rare to find an honest politician who means what he says and says what he means. Breaking promises is the norm. You have to tell people what they want to hear, not what you really want to do. And most of the people participate only as consumers, not as real participants. And this is something we need to think about. Not only to just go and vote and that's it. Our system is not perfect. We know that because it relies on defaming and spreading slanders against opponents. And that's not Islamic. That's not approved by any religion, or any religious or ethical standard. People are very confused. People get half or even less than of the truth. Candidates don't talk about the real issues. What are the real issues? So many questions I'm sure you haven't heard at all in any of these debates, these campaigns. They're relying on people's ignorance, emotional inclination, and affiliation with families or parties. This is how it works. This is how people got elected. Unqualified people get elected and consume a huge amount of power, and most of the time they leave office without fulfilling their promises or most of their promises. Yes, our system is not perfect because of these reasons, because of the 1%. And as Chomsky and others argued that we don't have two parties, we have just one party. We have one party. This is a party of the private money. People are extremely wealthy who choose based on their interest. And the vast majority of people don't have this privilege of spending millions of dollars to support a candidate. Yet, it is our responsibility to get involved because there's no other way. There's no other way to voice our opinion and to demand our needs. So participation, I have to stress this point. Participation does not mean just go and vote once every 4 years. It's much more than this. It's much more than this. It is being informed, make sure that you got the right information, are not brainwashed, although some argue are all brainwashed one way or the other. Anyways, but be as informed as possible. Try to know the truth. And also organize. We need to organize ourselves. Those who have common goals need to come together and do something. Enjoin good and forbid evil. And there's no absolute evil and absolute good. I'm sure of that. In this world, there's no absolute evil and absolute good. I understand that. And I understand that some people see no value in voting because everybody is corrupt and there's no point of supporting a corrupt person or party. And some even take it further and said from a religious perspective, you should boycott this. I know that, even within our community. People just don't vote. It's haram to vote. It's unlawful to vote. But we know in Islam, our scholars talked about the public interest, the best interest. Our scholars are very much aware of the fact that there's no absolute good and absolute evil. Even in Islam, even our fuqaha, when they make a ruling or hukm in Sharia, they don't say this based on absolute good, you have to do this, or absolute evil, you have to do that. Even Quran, when Quran talked about gambling and alcohol consumption, Quran said there's some benefit in them, but the evil is much greater than the benefit. Therefore, it is prohibited. Acknowledging there's some good in it. And we always, always choose the less evil and the more good. In everything in our life, we do. There's nothing absolutely perfect. But we try to choose what serves the best interest, and we have to choose the less evil. You have to do a surgery or expect a heart attack, then just go and do the surgery because this is the less evil. Nobody wants to go through this, but we make a conscious decision to put our children, our loved ones, or even ourselves in this situation because this is the less evil. In fiqh, we do this all the time. Our fuqaha do this all the time. So since there's no absolute good and absolute evil, then we have to choose the less evil and the thing that has more good in it. But again, it's not just a choice. When you think about participation as just choosing, that's a very narrow view of participation in political and social events. It's much more than this. It's being informed, being organized, and demanding, putting pressure on politicians. And again, this is our contribution to this great country. We want this country to be the best in the world, no doubt. So how to do that? Participate. Participate. Voice your opinion. And also we need to understand or to remember that when we run for office, we need to ask ourselves, why do we run? Can we run from Islamic perspective? Is it ethical for a Muslim to go and ask for position? Because there's a perception that Rasulullah SAW, when he said that we don't appoint someone who desired to be appointed in leadership position. But this Al-Quran also talks about Yusuf alayhi salam. When he came out of the prison, we all know the story, and he talked to the king of Egypt, and he liked his interpretation of the dream, and he said, stay with me, I want you to stay with me to help me. And he said, قَالَ جَعَلْنِي عَلَى خَزَائِنِ الْأَرْضِ. He asked for this position. Appoint me in this office of agriculture to take care of the agricultural activities in Egypt for 7 or 14 years, actually, according to his dream. So he asked for it. So the ulama said it depends on the situation. If you are taking more responsibility willingly, voluntarily, for the sake of Allah to serve, then go ahead, may Allah help you. Or if you're taking a position for social prestige, to satisfy your ego, or to support your party, seeking more power, that's not the way it goes. Then it becomes a goal in of itself, not a mean to achieve a goal. Leadership in Islam is a mean, not a goal. Many of us Sahaba like to step back. I don't want to take this responsibility. I have enough on my plate. I don't want to stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who will ask me about what did you do with this power and authority that you got. We always quote the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam who said that كُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ وَكُلُّكُمْ مَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَعْيَتِهِ. All of you are guardians and are responsible for your words. People are dependent on you. You're supposed to serve. You'll be asked about yourself, your family, your children, and the people that you're supposed to serve, whether it is a small community or it is a bigger community or a nation. You'll be asked about all of them. Why did you do that? Why didn't you do that? Your hisab and reckoning in the day of judgment will be much longer and perhaps more difficult because you took an authority and you did not deliver the service that people expected you to deliver. That's why Umar radiallahu anhu was very mindful of this fact when he said that if a donkey stumbled in Iraq, I'm afraid that Allah will ask me, why didn't you pave the road for this donkey? They heard him a number of times, his family, sitting by himself, looking at the ground and hitting the ground with his hand and asking himself, what would you say to Allah tomorrow, Ya Umar? How do you answer Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tomorrow? ماذا تقول ربك غدا يا عمر, he says. In politics, it's always the people of loyalty, not the people of qualifications. And Rasulullah ﷺ warned us that if you hire someone, if you appoint someone in a leadership position and you know that others that are more qualified people than him, but you just hired him because of part of your family or party, then this person has committed khiyana. قَدْ خَانَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Khiyana means disloyalty or betrayal, betrayal. He betrayed Allah, His Messenger, and the believers. When you hire a person just based on loyalty, not based on qualifications. So again, yes, we can run for an office. We can ask for leadership only if the intention is to serve the community, to work harder, to spend more time in the office, working and serving people, while everybody is enjoying his time, then you stay in the office and serving people. This is the only way or the only justification for asking for this extra responsibility. But when people are hired simply because of their affiliation and loyalty, and this is a very, very critical sign. Rasulullah ﷺ said, when people ask him about the Day of Judgment, when the Day of Judgment will take place, he said, when the amana is not fulfilled, or إِذَا ضُيِّعَتِ الْأَمَانَةِ, when honesty is lost. They said, Ya Rasulullah, how will honesty be lost? He said, when authority is given to those who do not deserve it, then wait for the hour. This is a sign. The Day of Judgment is coming closer. When amana, leadership, authority is given to those who do not deserve it. And just looking at the political map in the entire world, you can see this actually taking place. Most of those who are in leadership position are not really qualified. They're not qualified. And everybody knows why they came to power. It's not because people love them and beg them to lead them. That's not the reason. So, it is a great responsibility, huge responsibility. And when hadith also in Sahih Muslim, when Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu, one of the great Sahaba, he's a very spiritual and ethical person, but is not qualified as a leader, does not have the qualification of leadership. Not every salih, righteous person can lead. And not every leader is righteous, by the way. And the ulama actually talked about this. If you have to choose between qualification or piety, which one would choose? And the majority of them said based on qualification. You have commander-in-chief leading the army. He's corrupt, but he knows how to lead the army. He's very good. And someone was very pious and righteous person, but he does not have any experience. Which one would you hire? I like Ibn Taymiyyah's analogy here when he said, you should hire the qualified person, even if he's fasiq even. Why? Because his fisq will hurt him personally, and the entire community will benefit from his expertise. And the righteous person, his righteousness will benefit him alone, but his ignorance will hurt everybody else. Again, choosing less evil and more benefits. So Abu Dharr said, Ya Rasulullah, will you not appoint me to a public office? And Rasulullah, he said, Abu Dharr said, Rasulullah patted on my shoulder. And he told me, Ya Abu Dharr, innaka da'if, you are weak. And weak here, again, refers to lack of qualifications. You don't have the leadership quality that makes you a good leader. Innaka da'if. وَإِنَّهَا أَمَانَةٌ, and it is a trust. This position, leadership, is trust, amana. And on the Day of Judgment, it is a cause of humiliation and regret. وَإِنَّهَا يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ لِخِزْيٌ وَنَدَامَةٌ, except for one who fulfills it or fulfills its obligation and properly discharges the duties attended thereon. Only those who really fulfill their amana, they will be rewarded for it. Otherwise, to be humiliation and regret. Because you can lie as much as you can in this dunya, but these lies will be disclosed in the day of judgment. يَوْمَ تُبْلَى السَّرَائِرُ فَمَا لَهُ مِنْ قُوَّةٍ وَلَا نَاصِرٍ. When all these secrets will come up, be known. There are so many things we don't know in this dunya, but we'll definitely will know in the day of judgment. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide all of us, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replace our situation with a much better situation. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our brotherhood and maintain our unity. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our families and our country. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر لي ولكم فاستغفروه. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. Dear brothers and sisters, there is a janazah today. The deceased is Dr. Basim Yaqub, brother of Majdi Yaqub, who lived actually in Indiana, but he actually wrote in his will that he wanted to be buried here in Southeast Michigan because of his family members are buried here. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive all his sins, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant him the highest place of Jannat al-Firdaus. Inshallah, invite all of you to participate in this janazah if you can. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. اللهم إنا نسألك رزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا. اللهم أصلح لنا ديننا الذي هو عصمة أمرنا، وأصلح لنا دنيانا التي فيها معاشنا، وأصلح لنا آخرتنا التي إليها معادنا. اللهم اجعل الحياة زيادة لنا في كل خير، واجعل الموت راحة لنا من كل شر. يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك نستغيث فأصلح لنا شأننا كله. اللهم لا تكلنا إلى أنفسنا طرفة عين ولا إلى أحد من الناس يا رب العالمين. اللهم ول أمورنا خيارنا، اللهم ول أمورنا خيارنا، اللهم ول أمورنا خيارنا، ولا تولي أمورنا شرارنا يا رب العالمين. اللهم وحد كلمتنا وارفع رايتنا، واهدنا سبل السلام، وأخرجنا من الظلمات إلى النور، وجنبنا الفواحش والفتن ما ظهر منها وما بطن. اللهم إنا نسألك الفردوس الأعلى من الجنة، اللهم إنا نسألك الفردوس الأعلى من الجنة من غير سابقة عذاب ولا مناقشة حساب يا رب العالمين. اللهم اشفنا واشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين، وارحم موتانا وموتى المسلمين، وانصر الإسلام وأعز المسلمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وصلى اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم وأقم الصلاة.